Every week, a new band. Brought to you by NZ On Air. Active Live! Yeah.
Kia ora and welcome to the Radioactive Active Live Room. I'm Aimee and I'm joined here today by Dream Chambers, aka Jess Chambers. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really stoked to have you in here and the setup looks amazing. We'll kind of dig into that a bit more. So we're here to talk about some cool stuff you've been working on, namely the album, The Longest Night, which is out now. Yes. So tell me about what we're about to do. We're of course about to listen to some live music and I can see all sorts of mixes, synthesizers, wires going on here. Can you just paint a picture to the listener of what's about to happen?
Okay, well, these synthesizers are called Eurorack Modular synthesizers. So you can basically kind of build your own instrument from a selection of, I don't know, possibly thousands of modules. And so I have 3 synthesizer voices that I've written these pieces with, and then I process my vocals through a module, and altogether they're making kind of a dreamy, cloudy synthscape.
Exciting, very exciting. And you've had a very vast and diverse kind of musical background. Can you tell me a little bit about your sound now and where it stands?
It's very experimental, so I kind of hit a wall with the guitar and my voice. Like about 8 years ago, I was just like uninspired. And my friend introduced me to synthesizers, and it just kind of kicked off this really amazing journey into technology. And yeah, I just keep exploring. There's endless sound possibilities, and it's really exciting to me.
Great. We'd love to hear the first tune.
Okay.
So can you tell us about this one that you're about to perform?
This is called Patch 2. So when you make a song with Eurorack, you're patching the cables in different ways. So this one's just called Patch 2, and it's quite uplifting. It's kind of transcendent. That's the sound that synthesizers evoke within me. So that's what I'm offering today.
Great. Let's
Cool.
hear it. Stunning. Dream Chambers here in the Active Live Room. And as always, we are videoing this. It'll be up on the radioactive.fm Facebook page later on today. And you can go and check that out over there and give Dream Chambers a like while you're there as well. So, Jess, you were born here in Aotearoa. Tell me about growing up, when and where you did.
I was born in Blenheim. My family lived in the Mulver Sounds. My mom's American and my dad's a Kiwi. So, yeah, I don't really remember much of that. But then we moved to the U.S. and I lived in California till I was 12. And then I've been living in Tennessee, in Nashville, for the last 9 years. So, yeah, I've spent about half and half of my life in both
places.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the sort of way that these places influence your music and your life trajectory in that sense, and sort of the way that your music has evolved throughout the years?
Yeah, so when we were in California as a child, we were part of a church called the Pentecostal Church, and there it's like really a lot of singing, very transcendental, like getting into this really intense spiritual space. And I think that really influenced me realizing the power of music and how it can really change your state of mind and give you like hope and optimism, and also just be a release for your suffering in a way. So yeah, it was very learning about how soothing and comforting and strengthening sound can be. And then when I was back in New Zealand, I think I got really influenced by the singer-songwriter scene here. And then I transitioned into country music because of the place where I grew up. It's close to this, in California, this place called Bakersfield, and it has a very legendary kind of country swing sound, and that started coming back to me in some way, and so then I transitioned into that genre for a while, and then I moved to Nashville to pursue that type of singer-songwriter thing. And then when I got to Nashville, I just felt so uninspired. I don't know what it was. Something just changed in me, and I went a completely different direction. And I think that being in the U.S. at that time and being exposed to the underground electronic scene that was happening, there was a lot of noise music and a lot of just going to a show and literally having no idea what was going to happen, and just everyone getting so excited about technology and just sound itself, and that reignited my creativity. And now I literally don't play guitar at all, and I'm obsessed with synthesizers.
I find it so funny how you went to Nashville and instead of going the country route, you went to electronic. I love that. I love that story.
Yeah, it surprised me.
Yeah, it's not exactly what one would expect, I suppose. Yeah. Can you tell me about how you first kind of approached electronic music when you were in Nashville? Because the setup you've got in front of you is phenomenal. It looks terrifying, but very inspiring. How do you get into this kind of music in terms of producing it?
Well, actually, that's interesting because the album I just put out was part of my this thing I was trying to break free from, which is approaching music in a traditional way. This album was pivotal in like moving me forward out of the songwriting arrangement like headspace, because I've done that for so long. And when I came to electronics, I approached it like a band. So I would get one instrument as my drummer, one as my bass player, one as my, lead guitar, rhythm guitar. So I had like 4 machines, and then I would sing. So I was approaching it in a very traditional way. And now I'm trying to just push myself to be like, how can I break out of this? Like, I know what a good song is. Like, I've tried for so many years to like write that perfect song. So what if I just try to do something that is with, outside the bounds of anything I've heard and done? So that's like what I'm pursuing now, is like trying to surprise myself.
That's great.
Yeah. Did
Would-
that answer your question?
I think
I
so.
can't remember what
Sure.
the question-
No, that's good. I wondered if we could hear another song now
Sure.
and tell us a little bit about that one and how it differs from the first one that you played.
This one is a song I actually sang. I wrote this song as a traditional like verse, chorus, bridge song for someone else, and it didn't fit with their project. And at first I was like, oh no. But then I was like, well, I'm going to keep it and do something for myself. And I'm so glad that they didn't use it because it's become one of my favorite pieces to play. And it's, I took the essence of the chorus and some of the verse and I just stretched it out to evoke the feeling of the song rather than like telling it an explicit story. So yeah, this song is about love and wanting to be close to someone, but feeling alone in their presence. So, yeah, it's a little bit sad, but it should be a little bit comforting too.
Beautiful. If you are just tuning in, that's Dream Chambers. We're here in the active live room at the moment. You can really hear all of your sort of background, exactly what you said, really coming through in your electronic music, that transcendental Pentecostal church sound and the singer-songwriter vibe. It definitely all pulls through.
Cool.
What
Thanks.
sort of music do you listen to get inspiration?
I listen to pretty intense music because I'm trying to express something that I can't express in words. Like it's like a combination of feelings that is almost dissonant and intense. And so if I can find artists that are doing that and helps me envision like how I can do it as well in my own way. So I listen to a lot of experimental stuff. This woman, Holly Herndon, she created this AI
she's
program.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So she created her own instrument for her voice, and she's inspiring. And I listen to a lot of modular artists. Katerina Barbieri is pretty amazing. She's into minimalist patterns, so she creates all of these expanding patterns just with single oscillators. So it's like a very pure, it's almost like you can see the music when she's playing it. It's like patterns in the air or something.
Wow.
She's amazing. So yeah, artists like that who are actually defying genre as well. So they're creating their own indefinable sound.
Wonderful. So let's talk about The Longest Night now, which is your album. It came out last week. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel having it out there in the
I'm
world?
so happy. Yeah. I've been really grateful to Sonorous Circle for supporting the release and getting behind it and, letting people know it's there. So that feels so great.
How long had it been in the works?
So I recorded it myself in Nashville, and I finished it in 2020, and I released it on the just on Bandcamp on the winter solstice there at the end of 2020. That's the Longest Night reference, but it just felt like a really long year and a really weird time in America, especially, and I didn't know what was happening with music because everything was canceled, and it was just sitting on my hard drive, so I just put it out, and because I felt like I didn't know what to do with it, and I wanted to just, keep moving forward. So, when Sonorous Circle wanted to re-release it and really give it some presence in the world, that made me feel so happy because I had worked about a year on it, and I was experimenting mostly with my vocals. So I was using different technology to manipulate my voice and try to use my voice as an instrument itself. So I sequenced vocal samples on my drum machine instead of drums, and used a lot of granular synthesizers, which create clouds of sound. And my vocal looper I would grab little snippets of my voice and just have them kind of spinning. So yeah, that's what that album is mostly about, vocal exploration.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, because I was going to ask you what sort of the overall vision for the album was, but I think you've kind of covered it, especially with, you talk about earlier kind of breaking out of that band structure as well. When we talk outside of sonically, lyrically, what kind of themes and stories were going on at this time?
It's quite there's a lot of longing for love on this album. I realized it after I made it, and I listened to it months later. I re-listened to it because I hadn't listened to it in a while, and I was like, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit. But it's this feeling, everyone needs love, and we're all looking for love, and we're trying to be the best version of ourselves to give other people love that they need. So those types of themes, and also all kind of trying to transcend the human experience and being realizing how amazing it is to be alive. And even though things are dissonant and intense, that you can find beauty in the world and in life.
I love that. That's great.
Thanks.
Did anyone kind of collaborate on this with you, or is this just a full solo project for you?
This was just me, and me in my studio. And that's kind of my favorite way to record. But with my next project, I would actually like to work with a choral group and use different other voices than my own and manipulate those sounds. I think that would be really exciting.
Wow, so we're already planning for the future here. I love it. So last night you played at Pyramid Club. Do you have any other gigs in the work, any plans for the future that you think listeners would like to know about?
Well, I have some festival shows coming up this summer. Fingers crossed that we're all out and about. And then I'm playing on April 23rd with Rian Sheehan and Arlie Lieberman at Old St. Paul's here in Wellington, which is a beautiful venue. It's all wood, and they're doing an amazing live light show as well. So I'm excited for that one.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
And where can people keep up to date with what you're up to? Are you active on social media?
I'm mostly on Instagram, yeah.
Cool. And is that just Dream Chambers?
Dream Chambers,
Easy enough to
yes.
find? Perfect.
Yeah,
That's
me.
great. A big thank you for joining us today. We've got time for one more song.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
It's been great.
Yay.
What's the last song, and can you tell us a little overview of this one?
This one is called Patch 8, and it is kind of a resolution to the song that I just played, which has a lot of dissonant intervals, which I made purposely. And so this song kind of releases that dissonance, and I usually play them back to back and kind of take the listener through that journey and end on a really comforting note.
Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Dream Chambers in the Active Live Room. Thanks again, Jess, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in.
Thanks for having me.
And to the listeners out there, you can check out the visuals on the Radioactive socials later this afternoon. A big thank you to New Zealand On Air Music for everything they do. Cheers for tuning in and have a beautiful weekend.
Active Live. Friday, 3:30. Every week a new band. In studio. Brought to you by NZ On Air.